In a small town called Anderson, South Carolina, a boy named Chadwick Boseman was born. He was born on November 29, 1976, into a simple family, but full of love and strong values. His parents, Carolyn and Leroy, were not rich, but they did everything they could to give Chadwick and his siblings a decent life. Carolyn worked as a nurse, caring for sick people, while Leroy spent his days in a factory, struggling to provide the family with what they needed. Since he was little, Chadwick was special. He loved playing with his friends in the neighborhood and was very curious about the world. But there was something that made him stand out. He had a sparkle in his eyes and a huge imagination. He liked to draw, write short stories and invent worlds in his head. One day, while sitting on the porch of his house, Chadwick heard his grandmother telling him family stories, talking about the struggles and achievements of his ancestors. These stories touched him. "I want to tell stories like that when I grow up," he thought. But life wasn't always easy. He grew up in a community where opportunities for Black children were limited. Even so, his parents taught him that with determination and hard work, he could achieve anything. "It doesn't matter where you come from, but where you're going," his mother would say. Those words stuck in Chadwick's heart. In school, Chadwick was a smart and focused kid. Not only did he get good grades, but he also excelled in sports. But there was something that made him different. He loved to write. When he was in high school, something happened that would change his life forever. One of his close friends was killed in a violent act. Chadwick was devastated, but he decided to turn his grief into something meaningful. He wrote a play about his loss and performed it at his school. At that moment, he realized the power of stories and how they could touch people's hearts. "I want to use my voice to inspire others," he told himself. This desire became the spark that would guide him for the rest of his life. And so began the journey of a small-town boy who dreamed big. Little did he know, but one day this creative and determined boy would inspire millions of people around the world. And did you know that, despite facing hardships, Chadwick never gave up on his dreams? Let's find out how he took the next step towards stardom. Discovering a passion for art. After taking his first steps as a storyteller in school, Chadwick began to realize that there was something magical about turning ideas into words, words into characters, and characters into plays. It was as if he had found his superpower. As a teenager, he continued to explore his creativity and became even more involved in theater. One day, during a class at school, a teacher asked the students to write something about their emotions. Chadwick not only wrote but created a complete scene, complete with dialogue and characters. When he read his creation aloud, the room fell silent. Everyone was fascinated by the depth and maturity of the story. The teacher looked at him and said, "You have a rare talent, Chadwick. Never let that gift go unnoticed." That moment stuck with him. He began participating in school plays, drama clubs, and exploring different forms of art. Each experience helped him grow and develop his talent. Deep down, Chadwick knew he wanted to do more than just act or write. He wanted to create stories that could change lives. During this time, Chadwick also began to draw inspiration from great figures of the past. He read about leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X, and watched classic films that featured powerful and inspiring Black characters. This motivated him to dream big. "I want to tell stories that show the strength of our people. I want people to be proud of who they are," he thought. When it came time to decide what to do after school, Chadwick had no doubts. He wanted to study art and theater. Despite the financial difficulties, he had an unwavering will to move forward. It was then that he decided to apply to Howard University, one of the most prestigious institutions for Black students in the United States. And so, Chadwick took the next step in his journey, full of dreams, courage, and determination. Little did he know that this decision would put him on the path to achieving extraordinary things. Can you imagine what happens when a dream meets opportunity? Stay with me and see how Chadwick began to build the foundation for his college career. Education and career influences. Arriving at Howard University was a dream come true for Chadwick. He found himself in an environment where Black culture was celebrated, and young people like him could explore their talents and prepare to change the world. The university was much more than a school. It was a place of inspiration, where professors and peers encouraged him to believe in his potential. Chadwick decided to study fine arts, immersing himself deeply in the worlds of theater, film, and artistic creation. During this time, he began to refine his vision of the type of stories he wanted to tell. He wanted to not only entertain, but use art as a tool to educate, inspire, and transform. It was at Howard University that Chadwick found one of his greatest mentors, actress and Professor Felicia Rashad, famous for her role as Claire Huxtable on The Cosby Show. Felicia saw something special in Chadwick and mentored him closely, teaching him the importance of discipline, focus, and respect for the arts. She not only taught techniques, but also gave her students an understanding of the impact they could make with their work. But there was one moment that would have a profound impact on Chadwick's life. Howard University organized an opportunity for some of its students to study at the prestigious British Academy of Dramatic Arts in Oxford. Chadwick was one of the chosen ones, but he didn't have enough money to pay for the trip. That's when Felicia Rashad stepped in. She sought financial support from her friends in the industry and managed to raise the necessary funds for Chadwick to go. Unbeknownst to him, one of the anonymous supporters of this initiative was none other than Denzel Washington. Years later, Chadwick would tell the story with emotion, highlighting how this gesture changed his life. "A seed was planted for me. It was proof that when you have support and belief, amazing things can happen," he said in an acceptance speech. At Oxford, Chadwick immersed himself even more in the study of classical theater, learning about Shakespeare and other great playwrights. He worked hard to hone his skills, knowing that each effort was a step toward his dream of using art as a transformative force. After returning to the United States, Chadwick was more determined than ever. He had a clear purpose: to tell stories that honored his culture and inspired future generations. And so, with his degree in hand and a heart full of hope, Chadwick Boseman was ready to take on the world. Want to know how he got his start in the entertainment world? Stay tuned. First step into the entertainment world. After completing his studies and returning from his life-changing experience at Oxford, Chadwick Boseman was ready to enter the entertainment world. But the beginning of his journey was anything but easy. He knew that Hollywood was a difficult mountain to climb, especially for young black actors looking for meaningful and impactful roles. So he never let that stop him. Chadwick started out working behind the scenes, writing plays and screenplays. He had an undeniable talent for creating stories, and his plays often addressed social and cultural issues. One of his early plays, called Deep Azure, drew attention for its depth and sensitivity, showing that Chadwick was not only a potential actor, but also a brilliant writer. While searching for roles, Chadwick faced many no's. He often encountered stereotypes in the roles available to black actors, such as criminals or characters with no depth. He didn't want to take any job that didn't align with his vision of using art to inspire and empower. "I'm not here to just be on screen but to say something meaningful," he would say. Eventually, Chadwick landed his first roles in television series. He appeared on shows like Law and Order, CSI, New York, and ER. These roles were small, but they gave him the chance to learn the dynamics of the industry and gain experience in front of the camera. He viewed each job as an opportunity to hone his skills and prepare for something bigger. A major turning point came when Chadwick landed a recurring role on the series Lincoln Heights, where he played a doctor. This job was a significant breakthrough in his career, as it gave him more visibility and showed audiences that he was more than just an up-and-coming actor. He was someone with the talent and charisma to land deeper roles. But the real test came when he was cast in a soap opera. During filming, Chadwick realized that the character perpetuated negative racial stereotypes. Brave as ever, he decided to speak up to producers and voice his concerns. Unfortunately, this resulted in his dismissal. However, Chadwick had no regrets. "Sometimes you have to sacrifice something to stay true to who you are," he said. Despite this setback, Chadwick continued to believe in himself and his purpose. He knew his chance to shine would come, and when it did, he would be ready to make the most of it. And he was right. What followed was the beginning of a career that would put him on Hollywood's radar and open the door to roles that would change his life. The big break. Jackie Robinson at 42. The year was 2013, and Chadwick Boseman was about to experience the moment that would change his career forever. After years of dedication, hard work, and small roles, he was given an opportunity that many actors can only dream of: playing Jackie Robinson, the legendary baseball player who broke the racial barrier in Major League Baseball in the film 42. When Chadwick was cast, he knew he wasn't just taking on a role. He was shouldering a responsibility. Jackie Robinson was a historical figure and a symbol of resistance against racism. Chadwick understood the weight that this story held, not just for the Black community but for all of American history. I knew this was bigger than me. I had to do his story justice, Chadwick said in an interview. To play Jackie Robinson, Chadwick threw himself into the role. He spent months training in baseball, learning the moves and techniques Jackie used on the field. More than that, he studied Jackie's life from his childhood to the challenges he faced when he became the first black player to compete in Major League Baseball. Chadwick wanted to capture not only Jackie's physicality, but also his spirit and determination. On set, Chadwick was tireless. He worked long hours repeating scenes until they were perfect. His dedication impressed not only his castmates, but also the film's director, Brian Helgeland. Harrison Ford, who played Jackie's team manager in the film, praised Chadwick for his powerful performance and the maturity with which he approached the role. When 42 hit theaters, the world finally saw Chadwick Boseman shine. His portrayal was applauded by critics and audiences alike. He brought Jackie Robinson to life in a way that was at once honest, moving, and inspiring. The film not only solidified Chadwick as a talented actor, but also established him as a force in the film industry. More than a box office success, 42 was a cultural landmark. It reminded audiences of the importance of standing up to racism with courage and dignity, just as Jackie Robinson had done decades earlier. For Chadwick, the film was a reminder of the power of the stories he wanted to tell. I always wanted to be a part of something that could change the way people see the world. 42 gave me that chance, he said. And that was just the beginning. After 42, Chadwick Boseman was poised to soar even higher. Want to know what happened when he took on another iconic role? Follow along on this exciting journey. Transforming into James Brown in Get On Up. After the success of 42, Chadwick Boseman began to be seen as a versatile and committed actor. But the next challenge that would come his way would be even greater. Playing James Brown, the legendary godfather of soul, in the film Get On Up, 2014. For Chadwick, this wasn't just another role, but a chance to honor one of music's greatest artists and show the world James Brown's impact on black culture and global music. When Chadwick was asked to take on the role, he knew the task would be daunting. James Brown wasn't just a singer. He was a phenomenon, an icon with a unique energy and performance style that electrified audiences. To capture that essence, Chadwick immersed himself completely in Brown's life. He studied hours and hours of concert footage, interviews, and songs, analyzing every detail, from the way he walked to the smallest movements on stage. But Chadwick didn't stop there. He also worked hard to learn James Brown's iconic routines, many of which are so complex that they would challenge even experienced dancers. Chadwick spent months rehearsing with choreographers and training his voice to sing, in part, the songs in the film. His dedication was impressive, and he made sure to give 100% to the character. During filming, Chadwick wasn't just an actor. He became James Brown. On set, he radiated the musician's infectious energy, bringing authenticity to every scene. Director Tate Taylor and his castmates were blown away by his performance. He wasn't just playing James Brown, he was channeling his spirit, Taylor said. When Get On Up was released, Chadwick's performance was praised by critics and fans alike. He captured not only the talent but also the emotional complexity of James Brown, showing the highs and lows of his life, from his difficult childhood to the height of his career. The film was a celebration of James Brown's genius and Chadwick Boseman's dedication as an actor. This experience left a deep impression on Chadwick. He realized that every role he chose had the power to educate, inspire, and entertain. I want to play stories that show the humanity behind the legends, because that's where the real connection with the audience lies, he said in an interview. With Get On Up, Chadwick not only proved that he was one of the most talented actors of his generation, but also cemented his commitment to bringing to life historical figures who deserved to be celebrated. And do you think he stopped there? Not at all. Chadwick was about to take on the most important role of his life, one that would transform him into a true symbol for millions of people. Want to know what it was? Stay with me. The Consecration, TChalla. After shining in roles that honored historical figures such as Jackie Robinson and James Brown, Chadwick Boseman was about to face the role that would transform him into a global icon. TChalla, the Black Panther in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU. It all started in 2016, when Chadwick was announced as the actor who would play T'Challa, an African hero from a fictional, technologically advanced nation called Wakanda. He would make his debut in Captain America: Civil War, and the impact of his first appearance was immediate. From the moment T'Challa stepped onto the scene, his powerful presence, nobility, and strength captivated fans around the world. But it was in 2018 that Chadwick truly carved out his place in cinematic history. Black Panther, directed by Ryan Coogler, was not just another superhero movie. It was a cultural event. For the first time, millions of people, especially young Black people, were able to see themselves represented as heroes in a Hollywood blockbuster. And at the center of it all was Chadwick Boseman, bringing dignity, charisma, and depth to the role of King T'Challa. For Chadwick, playing T'Challa was about much more than just putting on a superhero suit. He knew the character represented something bigger: the strength and potential of the African continent, the importance of cultural identity, and the empowerment of the Black community. He studied African culture, collaborated with linguists to help create the Wakandan accent, and immersed himself in the script to ensure that T'Challa was more than a hero. He needed to be a leader. During filming, Chadwick was a true role model for his fellow cast members. He was always focused, bringing his best performance and inspiring others to do the same. Lupita Nyong'o, who played Nakia, praised Chadwick for his leadership on set, saying, "He carried the weight of the movie on his shoulders, and he did it with grace and determination." When Black Panther premiered, it was a phenomenon. The film not only broke box office records, but also captured the hearts of millions. The phrases "Wakanda forever" and the iconic crossed arms gesture became symbols of pride and unity. Chadwick Boseman has been praised for his performance, bringing a perfect blend of strength, vulnerability, and wisdom to the character. But for Chadwick, the real impact of the film was seeing the audience's reaction. He told stories of children who were inspired by T'Challa, young people who for the first time saw a hero who looked like them. "I knew this role meant a lot, but it wasn't until I saw the response from people that I realized how much he really touched the world," Chadwick said. In addition to being a box office success, Black Panther made history by becoming the first superhero film to be nominated for an Oscar for Best Picture, among other categories. It was a milestone for Hollywood and for Black representation in cinema. But did you know that while Chadwick was bringing King T'Challa to life, he was also facing his greatest personal battle? This part of the story is even more moving and inspiring. A silent warrior, fighting cancer. While Chadwick Boseman was conquering the world with his impeccable performances and charisma as King T'Challa, he was fighting a battle that no one could have imagined. In 2016, the same year he was cast to play T'Challa in Captain America: Civil War, Chadwick received a devastating diagnosis: stage 3 colon cancer. The news could have paralyzed anyone, but Chadwick decided to face the disease with the same strength and determination that he brought to his roles. He kept his condition a secret, sharing the information only with a small circle of trustees, including his family and a few close friends. To the public and his co-workers, Chadwick seemed invincible. Behind the scenes, however, he was undergoing grueling treatment. In between filming physically demanding films like Black Panther, Avengers, Infinity War, and Avengers Endgame, Chadwick underwent surgeries and chemotherapy sessions. He knew the world depended on his strength, and that motivated him to keep going even on the hardest days. During the filming of Black Panther, Chadwick never let the burden of his illness show. He was the leader on set, always positive and encouraging to his co-stars. Denai Gurira, who played Okoye, recalled how Chadwick carried an aura of calm and leadership that inspired everyone around him. "He was so dedicated and present that no one could have imagined what he was going through," she said. While battling cancer, Chadwick also dedicated himself to causes that went beyond film. He visited children's hospitals to meet kids who were facing their own battles with serious illnesses. He knew the impact T'Challa had on these children and wanted to show them that heroes exist in real life. Most impressively, he did this while he was undergoing treatment himself. Beyond the Panther, other iconic roles. While the world knew Chadwick Boseman primarily as King T'Challa, his career wasn't limited to Black Panther. Chadwick carefully chose the roles he took on, seeking stories that reflected his artistic vision and his commitment to cultural and historical representation. In 2017, Chadwick took on another significant role, that of Justice Thurgood Marshall in the film Marshall. This wasn't just another role in his career. It was an opportunity to bring to life the first Black justice of the United States Supreme Court, a man who broke barriers and paved the way for racial equality in the legal system. Playing Marshall was a different kind of challenge for Chadwick. He had to capture the intelligence, strength, and charisma of a figure who transformed American history. Once again, Chadwick threw himself into the role, studying Marshall's life and speeches, bringing authenticity to every scene. Marshall was proof that Chadwick wasn't interested in playing ordinary roles, but in telling stories that mattered. Another milestone in Chadwick's career was his performance in 21 Bridges, 2019. In this crime thriller, he played Andre Davis, a detective determined to solve a complex and dark case. The film gave Chadwick the opportunity to explore a more contemporary role and show his range as an actor in a different genre. Although the film was less culturally ambitious than his other projects, Chadwick's performance brought depth and intensity to a character that could have easily been typecast. In 2020, Chadwick reunited with acclaimed director Spike Lee for the film Da 5 Bloods. He played Stormin' Norman, an iconic soldier who leads a group of black veterans during the Vietnam War. Although his role was relatively brief, his presence in the film was striking and emotionally powerful. Spike Lee described Chadwick as a true professional and a shining spirit on set. Each of these roles showed a different side of Chadwick Boseman. He didn't choose his projects solely for box office success or prestige, but for the impact they could have. He believed in the transformative power of art and used his platform to amplify stories that deserved to be heard. Chadwick always said that his roles were driven by purpose. "I want to tell stories that tell the truth, that inspire people and that help create change," he said in an interview. He wasn't just an actor. He was a storyteller who understood the power of narrative to shape the world. And even with these iconic roles, Chadwick was just beginning to show his versatility. But the internal struggle he faced made his achievements all the more remarkable. Even as he faced his own mortality, Chadwick never lost focus on his greater purpose: to inspire and empower. In 2020, he delivered a brilliant performance in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, playing Levy, a talented yet tormented musician. The performance earned him posthumous Oscar nominations, proving that Chadwick was at the peak of his craft right up until the end. On August 28, 2020, Chadwick Boseman passed away at his home, surrounded by his wife, Taylor Simone Ledward, and his family. The world was in shock. Few knew of his struggle, and his death was a devastating loss for fans, colleagues, and all those he inspired. But even in his passing, Chadwick left an immortal legacy. He taught us about resilience, strength, and the importance of fighting for what we believe in, even in the face of the greatest adversity. And just like King T'Challa, Chadwick Boseman proved that true heroes are not just those who wear capes or special suits, but those who live with courage, purpose, and compassion. Wakanda forever, and Chadwick forever in our hearts. T'Challa's legacy. If there is one role that defines Chadwick Boseman's immense contribution to pop culture and representation in cinema, it is that of King T'Challa, the Black Panther. While he has played many iconic and impactful characters, it was with T'Challa that Chadwick earned a special place in the hearts of millions of fans around the world. Black Panther was not just a movie, it was a cultural movement. When the film premiered in 2018, it broke barriers and expectations. With a box office gross of over $1.3 billion, Black Panther became one of the most successful films in cinema history. But its impact went far beyond the numbers. For the first time, a major blockbuster featured a black superhero as the lead, surrounded by a predominantly black cast, with a story that celebrated the richness and diversity of African culture. At the center of it all was Chadwick Boseman. He brought T'Challa to life with a combination of strength, wisdom, and humanity that made the character so much more than just a hero. T'Challa was not just a skilled fighter but a compassionate leader, a devoted brother, a respectful son, and a king who fought for the good of his people. Chadwick managed to convey all of these layers in a performance that was both powerful and intimate. The phrase "Wakanda forever" became a rallying cry of pride and celebration, not just for fans of the film, but for black communities around the world. The gesture of crossing one's arms over one's chest, inspired by African culture, became a symbol of empowerment and unity. Chadwick knew he was representing something much bigger than himself. He understood the importance of Black Panther and what it meant to people who, for the first time, saw themselves as heroes on the big screen. Black Panther's cultural impact was so profound that it became the first superhero film to be nominated for an Academy Award for Best Picture. It also won awards in categories such as Best Costume Design, Best Production Design, and Best Original Score, all of which celebrated the film's honoring of African culture and its unique aesthetic. For Chadwick, playing T'Challa wasn't just a job, it was a mission. He often spoke about what the role meant to him, especially when he met children who saw T'Challa as an example of strength and courage. He knew that the character was shaping the way an entire generation of young people saw themselves and their potential. More than that, Black Panther helped change Hollywood. It proved that stories with Black leads and teams could be global successes, paving the way for more diversity and representation in the industry. But Chadwick Boseman's legacy doesn't end with T'Challa. It lives on in the cultural impact he helped create and the lives he inspired. And while fans still carry the battle cry of Wakanda, want to know how he ended his career in a brilliant way? Let's continue. The last masterpiece, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Chadwick Boseman's last work as an actor would be a true reflection of his passion for art and his total dedication to the roles he chose to play. In 2020, Chadwick starred in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, a drama based on the play of the same name by August Wilson. The film, produced by Netflix, brought Chadwick alongside award-winning actress Viola Davis and presented one of his most powerful and moving performances. In the story, set in 1920s Chicago, Chadwick played Levy Green, a talented but tormented trumpeter who dreams of making his own music and escaping the control of Ma Rainey, the powerful mother of the blues, played by Viola Davis. Levy's character was complex and intense, carrying a traumatic past that shaped him into a man with a mix of ambition, pain, and anger. For Chadwick, playing Levy was a challenge he embraced wholeheartedly. Even as he battled cancer, he delivered an energetic and emotional performance that impressed his co-stars and director George C. Wolfe. Viola Davis praised Chadwick, calling him a generous actor and a bright spirit, and saying his presence on set was inspiring. One of the most memorable scenes in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom was Levy's monologue, in which he expresses his pain and frustration over racial oppression and the injustices he has faced in his life. The intensity of Chadwick's performance in this scene was so profound that many considered it one of the most memorable moments of his career. He brought not only his technical skill as an actor to the role, but also his own understanding of the struggles Levy faced, making the performance incredibly authentic. When Ma Rainey's Black Bottom was released, it was met with critical acclaim. Chadwick was widely praised for his performance, earning multiple nominations, including a posthumous Academy Award for Best Actor. His performance was described as an emotional masterpiece and a final gift to audiences. He won the Golden Globe Award for Best Actor in a Motion Picture Drama, and his acceptance speech was accepted by his widow, Taylor Simone Ledward, who moved the audience with her words about Chadwick's dedication and spirit. For Chadwick, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom was more than a role. It was an artistic legacy that encapsulated his passion for the honest and powerful representation of Black experiences. He gave his all to the film, knowing it might be his last contribution to cinema. His final performance was a testament to his unparalleled skill as an actor and his courage as a person. Even in the midst of his most difficult battle, Chadwick Boseman left us with an unforgettable gift, a profound portrait of humanity, pain, and hope. But the story doesn't end there. His legacy on and off screen continues to inspire. The departure that shocked the world. On August 28, 2020, devastating news shook the world. Chadwick Boseman had passed away at the age of 43 at his home, surrounded by his wife, Taylor Simone Ledward, and his family. The announcement was so unexpected that many could not believe it. For 4 years, Chadwick had battled colon cancer, enduring grueling treatments while continuing to work on some of the most demanding films of his career. The fact that he kept his battle a secret made his death all the more shocking. The news took the world by surprise because Chadwick never let his physical condition interfere with his public image. He was often seen with a smile on his face, working hard on projects that required not only acting but also intense physical exertion. No one outside his inner circle knew that he was facing such a serious struggle, which only increased the admiration for his resilience and strength. In the wake of his death, tributes began to flood social media. Fans, friends, and coworkers expressed their grief, remembering the impact Chadwick had on their lives. The cast of Black Panther spoke out with moving messages, highlighting the leadership, humility, and dedication that Chadwick brought to the set. Lupita Nyong'o wrote, "His silence in his struggle was a mark of his courage. He lived a full life but too short, Director Ryan Coogler, who worked with Chadwick on Black Panther, revealed that he was unaware of the actor's illness and was deeply touched to learn that Chadwick was struggling with his illness while bringing King T'Challa to life. He wrote, "Chadwick was someone who radiated meaning. He never wasted his time. He knew his work was about more than entertaining. It was about leaving a lasting impact. The impact of his death was felt around the world. Monuments and murals of Chadwick began to spring up, and people of all ages and backgrounds shared how he inspired them. But perhaps the most moving tribute came from children. Many of them dressed up as T'Challa, holding Black Panther dolls in heartfelt tributes. To these children, Chadwick was not just an actor. He was a true hero. His passing has sparked important conversations about health, especially the prevention and treatment of colon cancer, which disproportionately affects the Black community. Many doctors and experts have seized the moment to raise awareness about the importance of screenings. Chadwick Boseman left not only a void in the movies, but also a powerful example of how to live with purpose, even in the face of the most difficult adversities. He showed us that true heroism lies in the way we rise to our challenges and use our lives to make a difference. But Chadwick's story doesn't end with his passing. His legacy continues to shine, touching lives and inspiring generations. In the next and final chapter, we'll explore how he lives on in the hearts of millions and how his impact will be remembered forever. An immortal legacy. Even after his passing, Chadwick Boseman lives on in the hearts of the people he inspired. His impact transcends the silver screen, reaching across communities, cultures, and generations. He will forever be remembered as a committed artist, a storyteller who used his platform to amplify voices and pave the way. Chadwick showed that art has the power to transform, to heal, and to unite. Chadwick Boseman's legacy is not just about the films he made, but about the meaning he brought to each of them. He chose roles that honored real stories and represented a future where everyone could see themselves as a hero. He proved that representation matters and that every choice has the power to inspire change. In addition to his work as an actor, Chadwick will be remembered for his humanity. He was kind, generous, and committed to making a difference. His visits to children's hospitals while battling cancer exemplify the kind of person he was. Someone who put others before himself. But Chadwick's legacy goes beyond his accomplishments. He left us with a powerful lesson. Never give up, even in the face of adversity. Now, the responsibility of keeping his legacy alive is in our hands. This is our chance to continue celebrating his life and learning from his example. Watch his films, share his story, and most importantly, live meaningfully as he did. And now we want to hear from you. What is your favorite moment in Chadwick Boseman's career? How did he inspire you? Leave a comment and share this video so that more people can learn about the incredible journey of this true hero. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and stay tuned for more stories like this. Wakanda forever.